Hello, welcome to Flory Models Daily Vlog. Here we are on what, the 27th of April 2016. Trying something a little bit different today, so I don't know if you've actually seen it, but we are streaming live. Totally live, because a few people said about it, so this is totally live this time. Basically today I've been pushing through quite heavily, doing gloss work. As you can see, the Airliner, which is now totally dry. I don't just love 2-pack lacquer, but I have had a little bit of a hiccup. I've got a little bit of dust on it. To be honest, the door went, I had a delivery come in, got a bit carried away, opened up as a delivery, wasn't the cleanest delivery, shall we say. There's lots of fibres and various bits and pieces, and they have stuck to my model. So unfortunately, there's a few little bits and pieces in it. Never mind, I might be able to polish them out yet. I am so happy with the finish. Hopefully if I switch cameras. Sorry, we haven't got a card in it. So you can tell this is totally live today. Hold on, let me just pop a card in it. There we go, and then if we zoom down, hopefully you can see how gorgeous and glossy this thing really is. And this is the thing, when you're doing any type of lacquering work, you know, we're talking 2-pack thinners and things like that, and lacquers and all of that, and hardeners and setters. The great thing about it is so quick and it's easy to do. Now I know the thing is, you know, it's not environmentally friendly, it's not very nice, and I know I make big things about not wanting to use products like it, but when it comes to a high gloss, easy finish, this is the way I do it. Purely because this stuff, because it's got a hardener into it as well, you don't have to worry about curing times. This goes off in 1 hour, so it's as hard as nails, and now I could polish it, handle it, and all the rest of it. Yet if I was technically using a gloss, like, to be honest, this has just had a normal gloss coat because it's ready for decaling, I couldn't handle this for a good hour before you get near it and everything else like that. So this is the Halifax. We're going to be starting decaling on that shortly, to be honest. I'm going to be putting those on. There isn't many on them. It's straightforward out of the kit. As we know, it's Revel Decal, so they're probably going to be quite horrible. But at the end of the day, it's a straightforward build. It's all going to be about the weathering on this one. We're really going to go to town. It's got some basic type of weathering on it at the moment, but nothing like it's going to get. Trust me, it's going to go full in. So today I've been really pushing on with the editing. So at the moment you've got part 5 up on the site. We talk about polishing, flat and things like that, like this. It's got this on here. It hasn't been on here long enough, I can't get near it, but with something like that, as we go over it, flat paint, flat white, flat blue, and we polish the hell out of it. Okay, so to bring it up to a mirror finish, it works really, really well, very, very easy. Then we go on to talk about actually using the sort of the metal colors on here, actually using bare metal foil. Admittedly, I did break with tradition. I moved away from it, and we just went in then with the actual AK interactive stuff around the front of these, and then we've left it on there. But I have to say, the nice thing about this is it's knocked it back a little bit. It was far too shiny. In fact, it was so shiny I was really contemplating it, ripping it all off and starting again. But by going in there and putting the lacquer over it as we've done, it's given it a little bit more depth and just knocked back the shine just a little bit. But I'm really happy how this guy's come out and all the rest of it. So the next one up for that is going to be putting it onto a stand. Now we spoke about this the other day and some guys were talking about it. Slightly different plinth to what I had last time. This is a cheaper one. This is a lump of mahogany. If you go on eBay and put in their plinths, you'll come up with them. Then you want to look for the multi-deals, okay? So this was a pack of 3, which came like this. Came to me this morning, just down in here because I'm getting low on them. Okay, so you literally just get a pack of 3. They're in little bags. You can see just like this. And then what happens is, they're obviously made cheap somewhere, okay? But a pack of 3 made, they work out around about sort of £4.50 each. If you go for 10, they work out about £4 each. If you go for 15, and that's what I did last time, I think we have 15 of them, which I've got rid of and used over time, then they were down to something like £3 a piece. So that's how you get them a lot cheaper. Club together, get together a group of friends and buy a load. The only thing is with these ones compared to the old ones, these haven't got the green baize on the bottom, so they're going to be a bit slidey, so I might put a little bit of green baize on, or some little felt feet if it's going to go on glass and everything else. So my plan for the actual Airliner is to have this. Now this is quite a larger bit of brass tube. I do want to keep it quite classic. Okay, so I was originally going to go in with acrylic and fix it to the bottom and do it that way, but now I'm thinking about brass tube. Now this goes back to my civil engineering days of bending this stuff. So I have got coming in an 8mm, it looks like a spring. It basically goes inside so you can bend it. You can buy tools to bend it as well, but the spring way. But I didn't have an 8mm. I've got a 10, 12, 15mm, but not an 8. So I've got an 8 coming in. As soon as that's in, I'll show you about bending this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mount it into the stand. We're going to bend it very much like we did with the MIG. back up on itself, and then it will come off. And then what we're going to do is make up a little plate underneath here, so then we can screw it to the underside. Okay, so it'll be up and around, and then we can put this, like we did with the MiG, at a little bit of an angle, so we can adjust it slightly, because I don't want it to be in flat. I'm going to put it slight on a tilt, probably only sort of a 10-15 degree climb angle, something else like that, but I think it will really finish it off and make it look nice. And having it on the brass instead of acrylic, I think it will make it more sort of glamorous looking. I think the acrylic works well if you want to make a jet look like it's flying. If you know it's just supposed to look like a display model, and half of this was, I always wanted it to look like it was something that was going to be in a showroom, or you know, in your travel agents and all the rest of it. So that is the point with that one. So hopefully we can put it onto a nice little stand, something quite sort of, you know, contemporary with it, and away we go. All right, so as I say, I've edited part 5, that'll get you along there. So it talks a lot about paint finishes and polishing by hand and all the rest of it. And then in part 6, as we run along, it's basically on about attaching everything to it, finishing it off, doing this lacquer coat, which I talk about in depth, because I know I get a million times every time I talk about questions, every time I ask about it. So I thought obviously we'd go through the motions of it and do it like that. But generally that one is almost to a finish. I think maybe another part and that will be done. So it's going to be a 7-parter. And then obviously we're back into this one, which we're going to push through heavily towards the end of the week and everything else like that. And then probably early next week, this one should be finished as well. But as I said, there's a lot more to come on this. It's all going to be about the weathering and the finish and wearing it down and everything else like that. This is now to its stage where it's hard as nails. We can really go to town with it. But again, that'll be deckled and then overcoated, cleared, and then obviously we'll go in there with weathering, which we're going to use obviously post shading, and then we're going to go in with oils, pigments, you name it, it's going to have it right the way over this one to really nail it down and hopefully give us a nice looking Halifax at the end of it. Straight after that, obviously we have got the Osprey coming up. It's 1/72nd, which is for the group build entry for me, and it must be an animal, so I'm doing that one. And then obviously it's going to be pushing right on with the FW 190. And at the same time, I am going to be doing the Chieftain. So it is going to be that thing. But the Chieftain, they're quite small, quite compact. It's not going to take long to get that thing together, although I might be going down the aftermarket track route for it. I must apologise for last night's audio quality. As again, I know what it is. It's just, it's a long-winded, very complicated system that I have working all of this, okay? But because we have multiple HD feeds coming in, it goes through a computer. The computer crunches the signal and all the bits and pieces to it. Then it sends it to another computer, which then handles all the streaming, which is like what it's doing now. I can see myself over on the screen, okay? And that is what is happening. The trouble is, though, the delay it takes to do all of that is around about 1/4 of a second, and that's why Steve echoes, okay? Because he's coming straight in onto Skype onto that second computer, and the second computer is obviously getting a delay from the first computer as it gets it all in. That's what the echo is. So from now on, what me and Steve will do is obviously wear earpieces like we did on the Saturday morning show. So if you've seen the Saturday morning show when we were building live for a couple of hours, that's hopefully what we'll have. We're going to do a test run tomorrow, play with a couple more ideas and everything else like that, but hopefully we should all be absolutely fine, and we'll get there. All right, so as I say, bear with us. It's just that thing. I remember when I first started doing this, which was over 10 years ago now I've been doing this, we had all types of problems. And I remember it when we moved to HD, because when we moved to HD, we had massive streaming problems because my file suddenly went from being 600 megabytes to like 3 gig, and then obviously people were having trouble streaming it, and we had a nightmare with that one to get it going. And it was finding the balance, and we have multiple ones. If you remember, you click here for the low res, click here for the medium, the mobile and all that, but now we've caught up, we've got it all sorted, we know what we're doing, and this is really just it. Us trying to go live, multiple cameras, multiple people coming in from it, is just a lot for it to be going on. And as I say, as was pointed out, which is very true, I do sit here and do this all myself. I have my little keyboard here, which is what does all the streaming and editing and the various bits and pieces live, okay, but I still have to run round to different things and bits and pieces. So sometimes little things like Steve's audio, I didn't check it, we rabbited on for 2 hours, and then we found out it's got an echo at the end of it. So there was no way we could go back and redo it. So unfortunately, we just left it like that, okay? But as I said in the actual forum, it's part of doing this now raw. I love doing the live stuff. I love the way I can just flick this on like we did here today. I literally go over to my workstation, press go live on YouTube, and here I am. It is literally one button and we're done. Okay, I don't have to do the thing of like, okay, SD cards, footage coming down, you know, all the bits and pieces as you can imagine, then having to sit down and edit it all, then render it, which takes eternity, and then obviously sticking it up to YouTube and waiting for YouTube to stick it into HD format, which sometimes takes absolute hours if it's a big video, and everything else like that. This way I can literally do more with you guys live, and that's the whole point to this. And what I intend to do sort of next week was my plan, if I can get it all to work, is I'm going to just be flicking the cameras on as I'm working. So because clever little setup, I can actually record the proper format in full 1080 and all the rest of it, or 4K, for doing the video builds, and edit them as you're watching it. So you can just watch it raw, okay, and everything else like that. So it will be the thing. Not saying I have the audio on all the time, because trust me, some of the stuff you'll hear probably wouldn't be appropriate, but definitely just the actual viewing feed will be live as I'm doing bits and pieces, okay? So as I'm just building generally, you can go over to the live stream, you can watch it, and we'll do it just like that. Or you might just get an empty chair, as if I'm sitting over there. But then I can move the cameras, you see, because we've got more cameras over there, which do things, which you should get one like this, which is the other old version, which should be, where are we? We want webcam, which is, I've got to work all this one out now, which is going to be 4. This is how we used to be. As I say, you can see the camera there and all the rest of it. This is the old sort of shot when we do like the live shows and the various things. This is the old one. So you can see the direct comparison between that and obviously what we have now. It's a huge leap. It's a massive change, and being able to do it clarity clear enough for you to see live, which is absolutely great. And that's where I really want to take this and all the rest of it. So there we go, that's it for this today. I'll be back with you tomorrow. I've got lovely kit reviews. To be honest, I have got the new Meng Abrams here. In fact, I've got a couple of them here at the moment. I've got the AK stuff coming up for you tomorrow. So we've got the new AK kits, which, let's face it, spoiler alert, they're a rebox of the Eddard stuff. But we're going to have a look in there, have a look at the decals and the aftermarket bits and pieces we get with those. So we have got the Spitfire and the 109. So they will both be up as a joint sort of review, because to be honest, we've reviewed the Eddard ones anyway. So we can link back to those. But we're going to have a look at the other kits. And then tomorrow I'm going to do the Meng Abrams, because that does look very, very nice, that kit. And we got a couple of other bits that came in this week. So there we go, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me and everything else like that, and we'll catch you all tomorrow.